Get him in there. Stay with your friends, mister.
They're no friends of mine.
Get moving, Steele. Give him our best cell.
See you brought back what you went after?
We were lucky. We thought they'd split up before we'd get him.
Was it trouble?
No. But we did find a strong box, and one of them claims he wasn't with the others. But they were all in the same camp. They fit the description the stage driver gave us. I guess he'll be able to identify him. I saw your horse over there. Were you looking for me?
I need your official signature, but it can wait.
Well, I guess I better tend to my hotel.
What about this?
Well, that's up to the marshal.
Deputy, whose black saddle is that out front?
Oh, that's the local man, Clay Culhane.
Our friend ain't used to this kind of treatment.
Well, you know Culhane? Well, if that's the man I'm thinking of, and you know him, well, his gun could get us out of here.
He's no friend of mine. Lousy diggings, Marshal.
We should have looked it over before the holdup. I'll take those ropes.
Marshal, I want a lawyer. This town got one?
You really worried, huh? How about you two?
Won't be in here long enough for that, Marshal.
What about the lawyer?
We got one. Clay Culhane.
He the only one?
You want to see him?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see him.
Oh, you'd like some coffee?
Thanks, Nora, later. One of the prisoners wants a lawyer.
Just one?
Steele, the fellow that says he wasn't with the others.
You found them all together?
That's right.
Well, I'll go talk to him. Thanks for the coffee, Nora.
As soon as I shake off some of this trail dust, I'll be back for that coffee. A stack of hotcakes that high.
I'll fix them myself, but I'll have to have someone help me carry them.
They was fighting, Marshal, and them two was beating up on him.
So you gave him your gun to beat with?
Well, no, of course not. Barnes was knocked down. I thought he was knocked out. And Niles was choking on Steele, so I went in. But Barnes wasn't knocked out at all.
And he got your gun. You want to be a full-time deputy. Give me those keys. You wanted a lawyer? This is Clay Culhane.
Could be that this one wasn't with them, Marshal.
That strong box is still missing.
So what if it is?
Let's just say you worked with him. You staged the fight to break out of jail, then you see a chance to clear yourself and end up with the loot.
Well, that might be, Marshal, if we was guilty and he was with us. Don't you forget it.
If you still want a lawyer, I'm the only one in town.
All right.
I'd like to talk privately with Steele, Marshal, and get a hearing.
There'll be a hearing this afternoon when the stage driver gets in to identify him. You can talk to him in his cell.
I got another shirt in my saddlebag.
Get him a shirt. Harvey took their gear to the livery stable. The end cell.
That lawyer gonna mess things up? We'll be out of here before then. Somebody else wants that money as much as we do.
I never had a lawyer before. What do you want to know?
Everything.
How'd you happen to be with Barnes and Niles?
I had a fire going. I was already under my blankets. They must have seen my fire, yelled at me, so there'd be no trouble. Then they rode in.
No sign of a strong box or any money?
Nope. If they had it, they must have hid it before they got to my camp.
All right. You rode in, then what happened?
They claimed they was lost in the dark. I guess they was, too. Otherwise, they wouldn't have stopped. They was tired. So they stayed.
That didn't bother you?
As far as I knew, there were just a couple of lost cowpokes. I had my gun handy under my blankets.
And then along came the marshal.
They'd unsaddled, just about turned in. The law moved in before we knew it. No time at all, they had our 6 guns, our rifles, and our hands tied up all nice and neat.
Barnes and Niles started claiming right away that you were one of them?
Yeah, I couldn't figure why.
Well, now, maybe there was a third outlaw, like the driver said. Only they'd split up. Then, when these 2 were caught, they might have figured their partner would have a better chance if the law thought it had all 3.
Go get something to eat.
I'll take it. Well, what is it?
Miss Colleen, there's something I think you ought to know. When I was getting Steele's shirt, I found this. Now, I was going to give it to the marshal, but I reckon that concerns you more than it does him. I thought you'd be interested in it.
Sims, since this is between Steele and myself, I'll tell the marshal about it, all right?
Sure.
Thank you. Your shirt.
Anything else you want to know?
The driver's identification will be very important. We should be ready in case he identifies you by mistake.
You said if he identifies me by mistake. You believe me then?
I took your case. I'll do everything I can. But you've got to tell me the truth.
I'm telling you the truth.
Why were you coming to Latigo?
I was looking for work.
I said I had to have the truth.
All right. I came looking for a man who gunned down my kid brother.
Go on.
That's it.
Deputy found this when he got your shirt. I didn't know his name was Steele.
You didn't know anything about him at all. But you killed him, Culhane. And he was just a kid.
Took you long enough to find me.
I stayed in the army a couple of years after the war. I had no family, except the kid. When I got out, I went looking for him. This piece in the newspaper was all I could find. But I heard enough about you and that quick gun of yours.
Your brother thought he could make his reputation by gunning me, Steele. I had no other choice. I tried to wing him, but he kept right on firing.
I swore I'd face you, Culhane. And I'm still gonna do it.
I'd say we better wait until you get out of jail. Then whatever happens when you're clear will take care of itself. Until then, I'm still your lawyer. If you want me.
I don't have any choice. What if I pay for your services in lead instead of silver?
Well, I'll do my best to give you the right change.
Can I get you some more?
No thanks, this is fine. Very good, Nora.
Where's Clay?
I left him over at the jail.
Is he defending those men?
Just one fellow named Steele. And by the way, I'm gonna need your lobby for a hearing this afternoon.
One of these days, I'm going to ask the territory of New Mexico to pay me rent for the use of my hotel.
Maybe you could get Mr. Culhane to sue for you.
Kid? Why do you always call him Mr. Culhane? Why don't you call him Clay?
I don't know. Just the way of it, I guess.
The way, it seems to be you just don't get along.
He's the one who gets frothy, not me.
He says you're always on the prod. What does that mean, Gib? On the prod?
Same as frothy.
Oh.
Best hotcakes yet. How much, Nora?
15 cents.
Going up a nickel.
So as the price of jam?
What time's the hearing, Martin?
2:30. You taking Steele's case?
Yes.
Well, you don't seem very happy about
Any
it.
reason why I should be?
What's the matter? Don't you think you can get him off?
I'll get him off.
Whether he's guilty or innocent.
Well, I think he's innocent.
That's what I like about your clients, Culhane. They're always innocent. Steele could have set fire to somebody's house, and you'd say he did it just to keep his hands warm.
Mr. Norton, as driver of the stage, you had a good look at the outlaws. Take your time now. And tell us if any one or all three of the prisoners were involved.
I'll tell you, Marshal. I ain't one to argue with three guns, but I didn't just sit there. I studied them good. Them last two was in on it for sure. I remember their duds. The way I recollect it, Marshal, them two took the strong box while the other one kept a gun on me.
So you can't make a sure identification of the third one.
Not by looking, by listening. I heard him talk. He kept saying, keep him up, higher.
You'd recognize his voice?
Sure would, sure would.
You heard the words, Steele. Say them.
Oh, Marshal, I object.
This is not a trial, Mr. Culhane. We're only trying to find out if there's enough evidence to bring charges against these men. You'll have your say in due time. Say it, Steele. Keep him up higher. Go ahead.
Keep him up higher.
Again.
Keep him up higher.
That's it. He's the one.
Marshal, I have a few facts I'd like to offer on behalf of my client.
All right, go ahead.
First, I'd like to have a few words with Mrs. Steele, if I may.
Make it short. You can talk in the dining room.
Thank you.
You keep your places. We'll go on as soon as Mr. Culhane's ready.
I'd like to ask a few questions of the people present, Marshal. Starting with you. Now, would you tell us how you took these men into custody?
Well, when Norton reported the holdup, I deputized Sims and Harvey. We rode out to the spot where the holdup took place and read a few signs.
And what did you find?
There were too many tracks on the road to figure out. We did find a trail of 3 horses cutting off cross country, but we didn't follow them.
Well, why not?
They looked fake. 2 of them were light and 1 was heavy, like a man riding and leading 2 horses. Could have been a move to throw us off or just a cowpoke with a string.
So you kept to the road?
That's right. So we came to more tracks heading off from it. They were made by 2 horses being pushed pretty hard, so we followed them. And that's how we surprised them in camp.
Now, the trail you followed, Marshal, was made by just 2 horses. There were 3 men in camp.
One of them could have been making that false trail. Cut loose the 2 horses he was leading and joined up with the other 2.
Well, that's possible. Marshal, when you made the arrest, was there any trouble or gunplay?
We were on them before they could even show a gun, much less use one.
Thank you. Barnes, you still claim that you had nothing to do with that holdup?
Yeah,
And you also claim that you and Niles were in the company of Steele for 3 or 4 days.
that's what we said.
Well, what were the 3 of you doing all this time?
Looking for work. Ain't that right?
We met him down on the trail by Socorro.
What kind of work?
Whatever we could find. Herding, riding fence, you name it.
Pretty good all-around man, huh?
We'll do.
Good with a gun?
Yeah, we're all right.
Would you say you know guns as well as the next man?
Well, who don't? You either know guns, you don't wear one.
Well, let's just see how good you are.
What do you mean?
What are you after, Culhane?
I'm not talking about how good these men are at using guns, just how much they know about them. What kind of gun does the Marshal carry, Barnes?
Well, it's a Frontier 45.
That's a pretty good eye for guns, hasn't he, Marshal? A moment ago, you had a brief glance at my gun. Do you remember anything about it?
Well, I do. Cold peacemaker.
You're right.
That don't mean nothing. Most anybody notices another man's gun.
What kind of gun did Steele carry? Well, now, you claim you were with him for several days. You must have seen his gun.
I forget.
Well, you only had a brief glimpse at my gun, and you were able to tell us quite a bit about it. Why can't you tell us about Steele's gun? The Marshal made the arrest. There wasn't a gun shown, right? If Steele was with them, Marshal, they'd have known his gun.
especially if they were planning a holdup.
Let's have it quiet. What about the driver's identification of Steele?
I'm coming to that. When they tried to break jail and Barnes held his gun on us, you remember what he said? Barnes told us to keep him up, higher. That's what Mr. Norton said the third man said.
Let him hear Barnes.
Mr. Norton, please cover your eyes this time. And listen very carefully. Keep him up, higher. That's it. That's the voice. It isn't easy to identify a voice through a piece of cloth, Marshal.
You made your point. Sims, take Barnes and Niles back to their cells.
You stop by the office. I'll return your property. Seems like I owe you something, Culhane. I'll have to go to the marshal's office first.
I can wait.
He doesn't seem very grateful.
I think I'll find out for sure soon enough.
The rest of your gear's at the livery stable.
Thanks.
Marshal, been looking for you. Name's Pete Hale from over Durango.
Gibson Scott, Marshal, what brings you to Latigo?
A couple of cusses by the name of Barnes and Niles. They're wanted for about everything over in our territory.
They made their mark in the New Mexico territory, too.
Oh, they've been here?
They're still here. Sit down, I'll tell you about it.
I told you what might happen, Culhane. I thought I'd find you to be about as low as a man could be. I guess I was wrong. I figure you gave my brother an even break. He was always a pretty wild kid. What's eating you, Culhane? You still want to finish this?
Behind you. Get down. Cut, Marshal.
That fake marshal slugged me and locked my deputies in a cell.
Why did he bother to come after Barnes and Miles?
Because they knew where the strongbox was hidden. He didn't. How come you two were out here?
Well, we had a little unfinished business.
Andy, get the doctor.
They're not lead, Culhane. Will that do for first payment?
Paid in full.
Good luck. Well, thanks.
Well, that was the toughest money I ever made.
You certainly have a peculiar way of collecting your bills, Mr. Culhane. You might have been killed.
Well, I wasn't. So it looks like you'll have to wait a while to collect your inheritance.
I'm in no hurry.
Hey, Marshal. Better get over to the saloon quick.
What's up, Andy?
Some strangers had one too many. He's fixing to tear up the town just to look at the roots.
This town is plain dead. I mean dead. Curled up. With its feet in the air. Anybody want to help me bring it back to life again? Anybody! Dead. Curled up. Ace, 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 king, king. That killed the pot for you, mister, didn't it? Were you going to let me get away with a skunk trick like that?
Why don't you go back to the bar, fella?
Your horse is waiting outside. Get on it.
Well, I finally smoked me out of a little trouble, looks like.
You got 5 minutes. Set your clock.
One thing I can't stand the smell of. A law dog.
Where have I seen you before?
Only thing kills the smell is whiskey. You know what this bottle does for me? This part kills dryness. This opens my eyes. This pleasures me. And this makes me pure mean.
I'll take your gun.
You'll only get what's in it.
Hand it over. But first, this is the last time I'll ask.
You'll have to kill me to get it.
I don't want it that bad, but one way or another, I'm going to take it. Hole in my belly or not, I'm still holding my whiskey.
Clay? Can you come over to the hotel?
Is he still alive, Norm?
He was unconscious and delirious most of the night, but he has come to now.
Is the doctor still there?
He had another call.
That man should have been dead hours ago. He must have a constitution of an ox.
You must know he hasn't long now. He wants you to help him draw up a will.
A will? I took him for a saddle tramp. What could he leave anyone?
I don't know. But it seemed terribly important to him.
Grat Maury's who I am. Grat Maury.
Where's your place?
I got a ranch just beyond Three Forks. My heirs will get that along with the other things.
Who are you naming as your heirs?
Coley Dakins is one. Pitt Thatcher's another. They're up in Santa Fe. You write to them, they'll come pronto.
Anyone else?
Yeah, what's the marshal's name? Full handle.
Scott. Gibson Scott.
Throw that in the hopper with Coley Dakins and Pitt Thatcher.
You sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Now, naming the marshal in your will doesn't make sense, Marley. He's the man that shot you.
Well, I was drunk when I did it. I'm clear-headed now. If I'd been faster, he'd been dead. I want to square things.
How would you like your estate divided?
3 ways. Even up. When will things be split up?
When the will is probated by the circuit judge.
When'll he get to town?
Next week.
Culhane, who'd get what I'm leaving if something happens to one of the heirs before he gets here?
The others would share equally. Or if only one survived, he'd get it all. It's called the right of survivorship.
Put that in. Put that in.
You better sign these instructions now.
This right of survivorship clause, that mean winner take all?
There was one clause he was very emphatic about. Made sure that was it.
Coley Dakins and Pitt Thatcher, the other heirs. Do you know them?
No. But I've already written them up in Santa Fe.
Why would Mowry name me in his will?
That's got me too, Scott.
You shoot a man and he pays you off. Doesn't make sense.
Not unless Dakins and Thatcher figure 3's a crowd. They might like it better with a 2-way split.
I see what you mean.
Just could be Mowry's way of paying them to kill you. I know we may be jumping at shadows, Scott, but with you dead, they'd each get a bigger share of the pie.
Where you going?
Up to Mowry's place, Three Forks. I want to see just how big that pie is. You want to come along?
No. I'm going through my wanted files. Could be that's where I've seen Mowry's face before.
Well, now, while you're at it, don't overlook Dakins and Thatcher. Price on their heads might take the one off yours.
Howdy.
This the Mowry place?
What's left of it?
You live here?
No, I'm a neighbor. Harvey Morgan. I come over to feed Mowry's hens when he ain't around, which is mostly.
How much land goes with the place?
120 acres. All planted to snakes and gophers. And plenty of water. 2 miles straight down.
Well, what did Mowry live on? How'd he support himself?
I don't know. Told me he used to be in the banking business. Bought this place July last year.
You got any idea how much this place is worth?
Not to a human. But the house is a nice place to live in for anything else that walks, crawls, or flies.
Who'd you buy it from?
Bought it from a widow named Bartlett. Banker in Latigo helped her sell it. Say, why don't you ask Mowry all these questions?
Because he's dead.
Dead? You sure?
Died this morning.
National banknotes.
$9,000 worth. Issued by the Commercial Bank, Durango, Colorado. When did Mowry leave this trunk in here?
July 24th, last year.
Just about the time he bought his place at Three Forks. So, as far as I can see, you're 1/3 owner of a bat roost.
Ranch that bad?
Everything's buried in the 10 foot of sand. You didn't have to dig for wood.
Anything there to kill a man for?
3 hens, long past laying.
Blows your right of survivorship theory sky high, doesn't it?
Not quite. Mowry left a trunk with $9,000 in it.
$9,000?
Mm-hmm.
Split 3 ways, that's $3,000 apiece.
Split only 2 ways is $4,500.
Dakins and Thatcher, huh?
Find anything on them in your files?
Not by name. I don't even know what they look like.
Well, I guess you'll have to wait a few days for that.
Some fellas just rode in.
I saw them from the window. Think they're the ones?
Well, you might ask if they come to kill you.
Suppose they say no.
Well, that's one way to start a conversation.
Room 14 is the only vacancy I have now.
All we need is one room, lady.
A man died in that room a few days ago.
Why tell us about it?
If I didn't, somebody else would. And some people don't like to stay in a room where...
The men die everywhere.
Whereabouts could we find a Mr. Clay Culhane?
I'm Clay Culhane. You must be Dakins and Thatcher.
I'm Coley Dakins. We got this letter from you.
Would you like to come over to my office now and look over the terms of the Maori will?
Well, we ain't lawyers. If you drawed it up, it must be right.
Well, now, there are 3 heirs. You two and a man named Gibson Scott. There's also a clause.
Who killed Grat Mowry? Him and us was close.
The marshal.
What's his name?
Gibson Scott.
Scott must be fast.
Funny thing about Mowry's will.
What's that?
If Scott should just happen to kill me and Coley, he'd take the whole pot.
Like they're measuring me for a fine box. How'd you size them up, Culhane?
Warm, friendly, smiling men. If you were dying of thirst, they'd give you all the salt water you could drink.
They act grabby about that will?
Seems the only thing that was eating them was who killed Grat Mowry. I think they want you more than that money.
Could be, the way they've been looking me over.
Well, now, they might wait until you make the first wrong move. Then if they set it up right, it could look like self-defense.
I'll try not to get caught napping.
If they make a move, I'll bet it'll be before that will goes to probate.
When's the judge due in?
Morning stage tomorrow. That'll be their deadline, one way or the other. After that, 1/3 will be yours. Or your estate.
Gib, I just heard those men order a marker for Mowry's grave.
They're entitled to?
The inscription will read, killed by Gibson Scott. Grat Mowry shot down cold. He was a friend.
That all you came to tell me?
They seem to be making a big show of their feelings for Mowry. And looking for every excuse to kill you.
Marshal?
Yeah.
I know we don't eat out of the same dish, but if you need any help...
Culhane, I can ride this one out alone.
Well, now, don't get your quills up. I was only offering my help.
You got an audience, Culhane. What are you trying to do, make yourself look big?
When old Grat Mowry knowed he was going, he must have laid on this bed thinking how he could square things with that marshal.
Place I can't reach, Coley.
Call Pitt Thatcher and Coley Dakins, he must have said. I'll call him from the grave.
A little to the right.
They'll take care of things. Ain't never let me down yet.
Coley,
Mm.
did you ever see a cat take a sidewinder?
Mm-mm.
I did once. That cat, he just circled and circled. And the snake kept turning and turning. Keep watch.
Well, how'd it come out?
Well, that old cat, he wasn't in no hurry, but he nervous that snake so bad that the snake struck before he meant to. Zingo, no more snake.
Pitt? 2 cats could sure nervous a snake, couldn't they?
They'd have that snake turned inside out, wondering which one hit him.
Leaving town?
Not yet.
Do your horses mind being weighed down by those saddles while they eat?
They ain't ever said.
Well, you got enough provisions there to last you a couple of weeks.
3 more than likely. If and we eat sparingly.
Man could ride out of town fast and stay lost a long time, the way you're set up.
Yeah, now you bring it to mind, a man could.
Say, Grat Maury was standing right about here. That right, boys?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Then, he stood about here. Got himself boxed in, looks like. Yep. And here's where he caught a blue whistler right in the belly. Got folded up.
Pow! And, the marshal stood about, here. Not knowing he was supposed to be in about $9,000 richer.
Oh, it ain't all his pit. You and me's in for a third each.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that right, Mr. Culhane?
That's right. Coley? You and me could both come up empty if the marshal draw it down on us like he did on Grat. He's pretty fast.
Why do you want to draw down on us, Pitt?
According to Maury's will, the last one alive gets it all. $9,000 might tempt any man. Even a marshal.
Well, belly up to the bar, boys. Drinks is on me and Pitt Thatcher. While we're still here. Near as I can tell, Grat Maury coming here to get himself a drink and wound up getting shot. Same thing could happen to us, Pitt.
Sure could. All we gotta do is, hold a bottle. Like I'm doing. And start measuring off drinks, like this one. That one. And wind up by throwing the bottle.
I suppose you figure you saved my neck.
No. I just didn't want anyone to get cut with flying glass.
Stage is in. 3 hours early.
I saw it.
Judge is on it.
I expected him to be.
You, looking for something?
No, I do this every morning for exercise.
You don't have to snap my head off. You act like you're looking for a dog to kick.
I got some papers. I gotta return them to the judge. Drawer was stuck. This was jamming it.
Oh, what is it?
Well, looks like you won't have to file that will for probate after all.
Wanted for robbery, commercial bank, Durango, Colorado. Theft of $20,000. Grat Maury. Maury? Well, that explains why he died rich.
Read the rest of it.
Maury was accompanied by 2 unknown gunmen.
Must have been stuck behind that drawer since July last year. I knew I'd seen Maury's face someplace before.
Well, Scott, looks like Maury's estate goes right back to the Bank of Durango.
That's right. But I may have trouble with the other heirs just the same. Have to arrest them.
Not too much off.
Coy. Looks like we're gonna have company. Marshall's headed this way, walking stiff-legged.
High time. Been arching his back ever since we come here.
Yeah.
Culhane, you stay out here. This legal matter no longer concerns you.
Anything you say, Marshal.
Go right on. You ain't finished yet.
Whose gun belt is that?
Belongs to me. Why?
Dakins, Thatcher, you're both under arrest.
I said not too much off.
What are we under arrest for, Marshal?
Suspicion of robbery. Commercial Bank of Durango. I want your gun, Thatcher. You fixed things good, Culhane. The man you shot was unarmed. It's a good thing you're a lawyer. You're gonna have a lot of explaining to do.
That explanation enough?
It'll do. I guess I owe somebody something.
Yeah. Pay him for Dakin's haircut.
Blow it out. Now make tracks.
Side, Brown.
Get out of here. Let them go, sir.
There's times when you show mercy. Other times you give no quarter.
Seemed best to let them go, sir.
What were they after?
They meant to burn us out.
They'll try again.
We'll be ready.
It's poor tactics, Brown, to let an enemy put you on the defensive.
I know, sir. Sometimes you got no choice.
Say this is yours, Mr. Brown.
They must have stolen it from the shed.
Tobe and me never seen that candle right here and
He's
now.
lying.
Easy, Mr. Brown.
Well, we was on their place, all right.
But it was only to get some water.
Marshal, I'm telling you, these men tried to burn us out. Now, what are you going to do about it?
Mr. Brown, why should these men want to fire your cabin?
Tobe and me had tried to be neighborly ever since we filed our claim.
Why, we even offered to pay to use that spring.
With only other waters 3 miles off.
Mr. Brown, if I charge these men with trespass, that still ain't gonna settle your fight with them.
Is that your answer?
We've been over this same ground so many times. You've accused practically every man, boy, and jackrabbit of trespass.
And you do nothing.
I can't arrest every man that shortcuts across his neighbor's land or takes a drink from his spring.
Man's a fool to look to you for help. I won't trouble you no more.
Brown!
I hope we ain't in for bad trouble from him, Marshal.
We're in for trouble. One kind or another. Looks like he's hiring himself a lawyer.
I'm not sure you really need a lawyer, Mr. Brown.
I need one.
Well, I know you've been upset about trespassers, but sometimes going to law only aggravates a misunderstanding like this.
Don't talk down to me, mister. I got a belly full of that across the street. Now, if you don't want to work for me, you just say it plain.
I was only trying to save you some trouble. Now, suppose I go to these prospectors and they offer to pay you for the water rights.
It's not the water we'll fight to keep, it's our privacy. Now, there are laws against trespass, and I want you to make that marshal enforce them.
I guess I could ask for a prohibitory injunction, ordering Weems and Slack to stay off your land.
And if they still go ahead, the marshal has to arrest them?
That's right.
How long will it take you to get this?
At least 2 days.
How much will I owe you, Culhane?
I don't know. All depends how much time I have to spend.
Here's $2. If it comes to any more than that, I'll settle with you when I get back into town.
I'll need a description of your property.
Get it from the recorder's office.
Brown, Weems, and
Take
Slack...
it up with my lawyer.
You got a full-time job with this one, Culhane. Maybe you can keep him off my back.
Don't count on it.
Seems only 2 things ever bring him to town, when he runs out of whiskey and when he's got a complaint to make to me. Although this time I will say he's added a few touches.
He says they're trying to burn him out. Anything in it?
You know as well as I do that he and his father are both loco.
I never seen the old man.
I did once. Rode out there to check a complaint. Brown didn't let me get close. Guess the old man is pretty far gone. I guess he wants you to try for some sort of court order.
Maybe.
Well, you go right ahead. But order or no order, I can't stand guard on Brown's property.
I have some papers for you to sign.
Who is he?
The lawyer. My father's been sick. Company upsets him.
General Orestes Fowler. Redbeard. The scourge of the Cheyenne, they call you. You look different without your beard, but I'd know you anywhere. You stopped with your cavalry in Marathon, Texas, and the whole county turned out.
He looks a little like Fowler, maybe.
I stood as close to you then as I am now, General. I even remember that saber scar on your wrist. It was about 6 months before you were killed with all of your men at Twin Caves massacre.
We can't let him leave here.
People feel about Twin Caves like I do about the Alamo. To make a man proud, you say he's brave as Redbeard.
Get it over with, Brown.
I can't shoot him, sir.
What do you tell?
You're my clients. What I learn while I'm working for you is privileged information. I wouldn't share it with anyone. Not without your permission.
Don't trust him, Brown. Don't trust him.
The man I saw in Marathon must have died at Twin Caves. Those have to be signed before I can get an injunction. After the massacre, the general's body was identified.
Only by his papers and what was left of his uniform.
Why'd you let everyone think he was dead?
That day at Twin Caves, he was sick, out of his head with fever. It's not fair to hold him to account for what happened.
What did happen?
When the attack came, He ran. He didn't even know what he was doing, Culhane. Till that minute, no braver man ever lived. I know I was his orderly for 8 years. I had to hide him. He's got to be remembered for what he really was, not for one mistake. Maybe you'd like a drink?
No, thanks.
That's fine enough.
It's all right, Tope. We're kind of edgy, Mr. Culhane.
Expecting trouble?
Marshal warned us to be ready.
Your claim is practically on the Brown property line, isn't it?
This is our land. Williams had it recorded. Legal.
We got a real good thing here. All it lacks is water. We're willing to buy their property from the Browns. Give them $500.
Well, I don't think they'll be interested, but I'll give them your offer.
Be $50 in it for you if they take it.
Well, I've already got a client.
No offense.
For you.
He's killed him. Where you going?
The man may still be alive.
It's nothing to us.
You go back to the cabin and stay there.
Marshal!
I got an injunction to serve you.
I was coming for you, Marshal. Brown just killed my partner.
Try, Brown. Marshal, he killed his partner.
Get his gun.
I had nothing to do with it.
Get him on a horse.
Thanks, Williams.
What reason would Weems have to kill his partner?
What reason did I have?
Well, you fought with him before.
Because he was trying to burn us out, but nobody believes that either.
All right. Say he did kill Slack. How could he possibly know that you wouldn't have an alibi? Suppose you were in town at the time.
He knew I wasn't. I'd passed by their camp a few minutes before.
And you rode up on the bluff. Why?
What difference does that make?
Was the general there?
No.
Brown, you've got to stop shielding him. You've got to do what's best for yourself. Don't you realize you could hang?
I'd have been dead 10 years ago, except for the general. I fell asleep on sentry duty. My sergeant had given me the duty 3 nights in a row, but nobody believed that either.
Except the general.
Colonel Fowler it was then. He had the charges dismissed. A few weeks later at Malvern Hill, Miniboss smashed my foot. I was all through as a fighting man. So I asked to be assigned as his orderly. He shouldn't be out there all alone.
All right. I'll go have a look.
He wanted to try to help me, but don't let him. Don't let him come into town.
Brown sticking to his story?
He's gonna have a hard time making anybody believe it.
You saw him hit Slack, right?
Rode up just as it happened.
You didn't try to stop him?
It was too late. Besides, he had a gun. I didn't. I figured the best thing to do is come get the marshal.
What about the old man? I'll look after him.
Brown? Brown? Where's Brown?
In jail.
You can't put my orderly in jail. What do you think you're doing?
General, you and I have to have a talk.
Now, give me that.
Brown's been arrested for killing one of those prospectors.
I told him not to go down, try to help. The man was sure to be dead after a blow like that.
You saw it happen?
I need a drink.
Did you see the killing?
I've seen thousands of killings. Manassas, Antietam.
Were you with Brown today, General?
No.
You're lying.
I don't know anything about it. Now let me alone.
You've got to come into Latigo and tell the marshal what you saw.
Can't you know I can't?
I think you can. And what's more, I believe you want to.
I'd like to help Brown, but to face them all now.
You'll do it, rather than see him die.
What's the difference? We've both been dead since Twin Caves. This isn't a home, it's a common grave. Now give me my whiskey.
You're gonna have some coffee and something to eat.
No.
And then you're gonna get cleaned up and you're coming into Latigo.
Culhane,
Sit down, General.
Go ahead. Do me that favor. Please, Culhane. I can't hang you for killing a dead man.
Is he all right?
You lied to me.
No matter what he says, Culhane, you're not to bring him in.
That's a possibility we can both forget.
I lied about the general. But the rest is the truth.
All right, we'll get back to the same question. Why would Weems kill his partner?
I don't know. Unless it had something to do with him trying to buy us out or burn us out.
Their claim is right on your property line. If a rich vein of ore crossed that line...
That'd give him a reason to kill us. But why his partner?
I better do some checking.
Marshal, now that Slack is dead, does Weems get their claim for himself?
That's the first thing I looked into. Slack has a sister back in Illinois. She'll get his share. So this puts no money in Weems' pocket.
That what Weems told you?
He showed me the letter he wrote to Slack's sister. He wouldn't have done that if he was trying to swindle her.
Maybe that's exactly what he would have done.
Well, I'm not supposed to talk about claim values, Mr. Culhane.
Come on in, Marshal. You tell Willie here it's all right to answer a few questions?
Go ahead.
Now, Willie, you assayed the ore of the Slack Weems claim.
I sure did.
Rich strike?
It's practically worthless.
Are you sure?
See for yourself, Marshal. Why would they have offered Brown $500 for water rights to stay and work a claim that wasn't worth 1/10 of that?
Well, now, Mr. Culhane, the claim Mr. Weems has next to the Brown property looks very promising.
You mean Weems registered a claim by himself?
Sure did. And it assays out as rich as any ore I've ever seen around here.
Can you show us where that claim is?
Sure can. Right there.
That's the claim Slack and Weems were working together.
Well, it's only in Weems' name. The claim they held together is way down there.
Well, it looks to me like Slack's sister in Illinois has a half interest in a worthless claim, and Weems has clear title to a small fortune. Pretty good reason for a killing, wouldn't you say?
Weems got a lot of questions to answer.
What about Brown?
I'll release him when I get back.
Thanks, Willie.
Thought maybe you might be thirsty.
I don't want anything from you.
You better think that over. What's gonna happen to you when they hang your son? No reason we can't work it so you and me both get what we want.
Don't touch that.
Looks like maybe I interrupted something.
Give me
No. General Fowler. Marshal, I'm glad you're here.
General.
Brown's gonna take this hard. I'll get his horse. We'll take him back to town. It's funny. In this light, he looks a little like pictures I've seen of old Redbeard. You know? General Fowler.
Now that you mention it, there is a slight resemblance.
Plan on a little surprise for him?
Can I be of service? We got a mighty fine selection. You just take a look around. My ma and pa went down to the warehouse. They're coming right back.
Well, I thought maybe
I'm figuring on Sunday go to meat and suit, or maybe just a cow rigging outfit.
Well,
You don't mind my saying, but you don't look like no heel squatter to me.
I don't mind. I'm a lawyer. Name's Culhane, Clay Culhane. I have a place a few doors from you.
I'm proud. Dick Banks.
Howdy.
Me and my ma and pa, we got in town a week back. Just opened up first time this morning. That's a fine-looking weapon, Mr. Culhane.
Yeah, well, I was wondering if you had any black socks.
Socks?
Uh-huh.
Oh, black socks. Yes, sir. I know Ma put the socks here someplace.
I better come back when your folks are here.
Oh, no. Shouldn't be more than a couple of minutes. You could wait. Here, sit down. Sure be sorry to lose our first customer. You mind my asking, Mr. Culhane, what kind of a shooting iron is that?
That's a 45 Peacemaker.
How do you like it?
It'll do.
I never used one. I'd admire to shoot with it. This here's an old Colt 44 my Uncle Amos left me. But it sure is a mess of trouble getting cartridges for him. Used to be cap and ball, you know, and that's before they fixed him to shoot rimfire.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
You think so? Well, listen, I got a few rounds left. Would you like to take a couple of shots?
Oh, no, not right now.
I could set a target up and back. The action smoothed down just fine. And then maybe I could take a turn with yours just for practice.
Did you get the accuracy out of it?
Yeah, it's pretty good, Mr. Culhane.
That's a real thumb buster, isn't it?
She is, for sure. I'll go get the cartridges. Take about 30 feet, wouldn't you, Mr. Culhane?
Just about.
Oh, I ain't too sure of this distance. This is the first time I'll be trying since we got here.
Oh, why don't you move it up closer?
Oh, no, sir. Back home, I'd go 50 feet or better with regular practicing.
Uh-huh.
You want to go first?
Oh, no, you. I'd like to see you.
All right, then maybe you'll let me use that old peacemaker of yours. I ain't much of a drawer, though. It's mighty heavy.
You all right, Nora?
Yes. Sounded like a cannon.
You better get back inside.
Who taught you to do that?
My Uncle Amos. But I ain't much on a draw, Mr. Culhane, and that's what worries me.
What happened to your uncle?
Oh, he got himself dry gulched back in Oklahoma territory. He never could skin his gun fast enough, and that's what I gotta learn. Oh, Uncle Amos sure have his bristles up right now if he saw me. He always said, never show a man you draw unless you mean it. Someday you might have to throw down with him.
Well, your uncle was right. But he wasn't talking about target shooting.
What's the trouble? I don't know. There were gunshots. You Mr. Banks? Yes?
We heard the shooting down at the warehouse.
Mr. Kelly says he thought the shots might have come from here.
Dick.
Give me that.
Oh, Marshal, it was only target practice.
Culhane, did you put him up to this? Dick, you promised your ma and me there'd be no more of this craziness once we got here.
Well, Pa, just...
Now you're tied in with a gunfighter as well.
Oh, Mr. Banks.
I know who you are, mister. As soon as we come to town, I saw your name on the door. I knew. Clay Culhane, Texas gunman. Maybe you fooled some people calling yourself a lawyer, but not me. You're not going to teach our boy your ways. Now get off my property.
Dick, you gave us your word.
I was just showing Mr. Culhane is all.
Shut your mouth, boy. I ought to thrash your backside. Now get. Marshal, we're new in Latigo. This ain't the best way to make your acquaintance. If there's any law against what the boy's done.
There's no law against target shooting, Mr. Banks. But I'd be obliged if there was no more of it. Makes people kind of jumpy.
Don't blame them with fellas like Culhane around.
No harm done.
There'll be none. I'll put this away and the boy will never see it again.
I could use me a pair of boots like that, Jack.
Ain't the best I ever seen.
Well, they ain't the worst.
Nice pair of boots.
How much are they?
$9.
$9?
Got some others over here for $5.
Well, they ain't no better than what I'm wearing now. Now, I'll take them.
You want to try them on?
Oh, they look fitting. A little snug, but I figure they'll stretch. How about it, Jack? You want a pair? Sure.
I've got another pair inside. That'll be $18 for the two.
Fine, you can put it on tick.
Sorry, no credit.
What do you mean, no credit?
I've only been open a week. I can't afford it.
That ain't no way to get goodwill.
Sorry.
Well, look, we're customers. Me and Jack, we got good jobs up the Addison mine. I guess you heard of that.
No.
Well, sure. We can pay you next week. Easy.
You come back next week and I'll be glad to sell you the boots. You mind taking that one off?
Sure I mind.
Are you saying you don't trust us?
I'm asking you to take off the boot.
And I ain't doing it.
Look, I don't want any trouble.
Everybody else in town gives us credit. How come you don't?
Whoever gave you fellas credit?
Who asked you to horn in?
Nobody.
And roll your tail, mister.
You heard Mr. Banks. He doesn't want any trouble.
Leather ain't no good nohow.
Thanks, Mr. Culhane.
That's all right.
I'm sorry about how my father acts to you. You were a gunfighter like he says. I know you had good reason.
Yeah.
Them boots. Yeah. Never had me a pair like that. Almost as good as custom made. That is stinking whiskey. Snakehead stuff. Jack, I wanted me that pair of boots more than a lot of things I can remember.
Yeah?
Just that one. Felt good. You know? Maybe we get paid next week. You can buy them. Maybe I don't want to wait. We could both get us a pair tonight.
It's right across from the marshal's office.
You don't stay awake all night. There must be a back way to that store. One of us could keep an eye out.
Yeah?
Sure feel a lot better with that pair of boots.
Clay? I thought you were asleep.
No.
I don't know about him, but I'm turning in.
Give that hat.
What about it?
Why don't you buy a new one?
Why should I?
Look at it.
Looks fine to me.
It's dirty and terrible. Why don't you get a new one?
You think so?
I saw some very nice ones in the new store. Mr. Banks' place.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll stop by there in the morning. Well, good night.
Good night, Gib.
Good night, Culhane.
All right.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
Is it because of what Mr. Banks has been saying about you? Gib told me.
Oh, now that marshal has more lip than a muley cow.
When Mr. Banks has been here longer, he'll know better.
Well, then I guess you'll stop saying Culhane like it was a dirty word. Well, maybe I was wrong letting that kid show off.
Why shouldn't you?
Because he's got guns on a brain, Nora, and that's not good.
Just because he shoots at a target doesn't mean he'll want to kill somebody.
He put 8 or 9 bullets in a circle that big, a good 30 feet away, Nora. And the only thing that troubles him is he can't draw. That'll be next.
All right. But you'll have nothing to do with it.
I might have. I watched him. I wanted to teach him to draw as well as he could shoot. Good night, Nora.
Good night, Clay.
I'll go run back.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's Pa. He's been shot.
What happened, Mrs. Banks? What happened?
What happened, Dick?
I don't know. I was asleep. And I heard the gun.
He heard somebody moving around. Eli got out of bed to find out what it was. I saw a shadow moving. There was a struggle. He must have gone out the back.
Did you see him, Mrs. Banks?
Mrs. Banks.
Did you see him, Dick?
It was that man, the one today.
Which one?
The one who wanted the boots.
Did you see him? Did you?
No, but it was him.
Take the boy to the hotel, Clay. I'll bring her over. They can stay there tonight.
All right. Get into your clothes, Dick.
Sure, Mr. Klein.
Nothing out there.
I never did get their names, Mr. Scott. I took them for a couple of drifters. They drank some cheap whiskey, and then they were on their way.
Did you hear him say anything at all?
Well, it seems to me I heard them talking about a new job they got. I don't recollect where, though. They were standing right here at the bar. That was before they took their drinks to the table.
A job here in town?
No, mining. Yeah, mining. Addison Mine. That's what it was. Addison Mine. That's where they work.
Thanks, Kelly.
Drink your coffee, Mrs. Banks.
Yes, thank you. I wish it was tomorrow. I wish it was tomorrow and I'd wake up and Eli would be next to me.
There's your boy. He'll be here.
Just this afternoon we were talking about adding on to the place when things got better. Maybe build on a special room for Dick. Eli's dead. He was a kindly man. He never did any harm to anyone. And now he's dead.
Try to think of your son, Mrs. Banks.
Dick? Yes. Eli, he wanted it to be something to her. Maybe go away to school for a while. Now he'll turn out just like the rest of them. Like that gunfighter. That Clay Culhane.
Mrs. Banks, Clay Culhane is a lawyer. Everybody in Latigo thinks very highly of him.
Eli didn't. I don't want my son to be like that. I don't. Guns. Killing. My boy has the look of a gunfighter. Oh, Eli. Oh, Eli.
Find him?
Yeah, it wasn't hard. Only been working there 3 days. Denver Pollock and Jack Shepard. They admitted to being in town yesterday, but they said they left before dark.
Either of them wearing new boots?
No.
Well, I talked to the kid this morning. He isn't sure how many pair of boots he had in stock. I mean, like the ones those fellas were looking at.
Too bad. I wouldn't put it past them to have done it. It's going to be hard to prove.
Yeah.
Wings back on the guy. Hey, what makes you sit down?
Look, Ward, I So I walk up to this bar one day and he reached back and slugged this guy. And I said, hey, what's that you just jumped? What do you say? Peter, believe me, I'm on the name. Yeah, well, I'm fighting for this. I'm going to get you. Imagine she names it. She read it.
Oh, hello, dear. What are you looking for? Dick, what's the matter?
Where's the gun, Ma?
The gun?
Where is it?
What do you want it for?
Those men are back. One of them's wearing new boots. Now, where is it?
Dick, you go tell the marshal. Listen to me. You've seen what guns did to your Uncle Amos, to your pa? Dick, I'm your ma. You give me the gun.
I ain't a baby, Ma. Leave me be.
I hear tell you're going out to kill a man.
That's right, 2 of them.
Give me that gun.
Give it to him, Dick.
No.
I can take it from you.
Sure you can. I wouldn't shoot at you, Mr. Culhane. If you take this away from me, I'll find another.
Go get the marshal, Mrs. Banks.
I told you he's not in his office.
Go find him.
He can put me in jail. It won't matter. By and by, I'll get out and I'll follow them. I'll find them.
You don't know they're the ones. Not for sure.
For sure, one of them's wearing the boots.
And the marshal will arrest them, and they'll be tried.
I ain't giving them a chance to get off.
Do you know what'll happen if you use that gun?
I'll square things for Pa.
No, you won't.
Mister, I saw my Uncle Amos die. He was plugged in the back, and I saw the blood running out of him. You know what happened to the fellas that did it? They got off. There weren't enough proof.
Now, what are you gonna do? Go over to that saloon and start shooting?
They're gonna get the same as they gave Pa.
Even in the back?
I'm coming by, mister.
Now, you wait a minute. Do you know what it is to shoot a man? To kill him?
I aim to find out.
Sure. And they'll say, there goes Dick Banks. Walk softly around him. He's a real cat-eyed gunfighter. Is that what you want to hear? Is that what you want to hear for the rest of your life, Dick?
He shows up at this dance, you know, public as a zebra, wearing one of them fried shirts, one of them hard-boiled hats, smelling of bear grease and lavender-flavored soap. Look here. What you got there, boy? Buffalo gun?
Mister, one of you killed my pa for them boots you got on. Now, I ain't much on the draw, so if you want to unchuck your guns, you better do it now. Because I'm not going to do any more fancy trick shooting.
Well, we don't blame you being riled about your pa, but, wasn't us done it.
Put away your gun, kid.
No, sir. You gonna draw?
Look, we're sorry. We'll give you what money we got. It'll help pay for your pa's funeral.
Go on, boys. Get it over with. He can empty that gun and kill you both before you even touch yours. He's an expert. He'll be famous all over the territory.
It ain't so.
He don't care about the law. The law'd only spoil his fun.
It ain't that way.
Sure it is. Come on, boys, draw. He's waiting on you. If you don't, he'll kill you anyway. He wants to show you what a big man he is. Then he can go tell his ma that everything's all right. Because now he's a real killer. And he can take his pa's place.
Mr. Culhane, that ain't it. You know it.
I'll take yours, too.
I wouldn't have killed him, Mr. Culhane.
Wouldn't you?
I could shoot the glass out of his hand because it didn't mean nothing. But I couldn't kill him.
You couldn't. I had to.
Sorry I took so long, Culhane. I was over at the hotel. Mrs. Banks couldn't find me.
Sorry, good.
Xin chào mọi người. Ở video trước mình đã hướng dẫn mọi người móc xong phần chân thứ nhất của capybara. Và đến với video ngày hôm nay thì mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn mọi người móc lên đến phần chân thứ hai nha. Để làm phần chân thứ hai, mình sẽ làm giống với lại phần thân thứ nhất nha. Mình tạo một vòng tròn ma thuật, sau đó móc vào vòng tròn ma thuật này 6 mũi móc đơn. Sau khi được 6 mũi móc đơn rồi thì mình sẽ rút lên. Sau đó móc mũi trượt để kết hàng. Tiếp theo lên đến hàng móc thứ hai thì mình móc 6 mũi móc tăng. Mỗi chân mũi của hàng móc này mình sẽ móc 2 mũi móc đơn. Tiếp theo, sau khi đã móc xong 6 mũi móc tăng thì mình móc mũi kết hàng và lên đến hàng móc thứ ba. Ở hàng móc thứ ba thì mình móc với công thức là một đơn và một tăng. Cứ một mũi móc đơn mình sẽ lại móc một mũi móc tăng. Sau khi đã móc xong hàng móc thứ ba, mình móc mũi trượt kết hàng và lên hàng móc thứ tư. Từ hàng móc thứ tư trở đi thì mình sẽ không tăng không giảm mũi. Mình sẽ chỉ móc để tăng chiều dài của chân thôi. Nên là mỗi chân mũi mình móc một mũi móc đơn cho đến cuối hàng. Sau khi móc xong hàng móc thứ tư, mình móc lên hàng móc thứ 5. Thì hàng móc thứ 5 mình cũng móc tương tự thôi. Mỗi chân mũi một mũi móc đơn. Cứ móc như vậy cho đến cuối hàng. Tổng hàng này thì mình sẽ có là 18 mũi móc đơn. Sau khi đã móc xong hàng thứ 5, mình lên hàng móc thứ 6. Hàng móc thứ 6 mình cũng móc tương tự. Mình móc 18 mũi móc đơn. Sau khi đã móc được 18 mũi móc đơn của hàng móc thứ 6 thì mình móc mũi kết hàng. Sau đó Từ đây thì mình sẽ nối hai chân lại. Mình sẽ đưa kim sang chân mũi đầu tiên của chân thứ nhất, sau đó vòng sang rồi lên một mũi bính và tiếp tục móc từ chân này. Mình móc toàn bộ là mũi móc đơn cho đến hết hàng móc nha.